Do you remember how many flights did you do altogether?
Yes, I did 126 missions. 126 missions to Berlin and back.
And which each load?
Each load has 20,000 pounds of coal or flour or dried eggs or dried potatoes or newsprint or raw materials to manufacture things. People in Berlin still made some things. They still had a small workforce. And they put them in boxes that says, made in blockaded Berlin. And then the empty airplanes going to West Germany, of course, could carry lots of things. There's no problem. Planes were going back empty, so we could carry more than they could produce back.
During the mission of Airlift, had you been able to meet Germans actually to get close to some?
Yes, and during the first of all, we met the people who unloaded the airplanes. And flying many times to Berlin, you see the same ones, you say hello, and you learn that, hello, someone was named Peter, someone was named Olaf, and we got to know people in the unloading. But more than that, they would allow children and families to come on the airfield at Tempelhof, right where we're unloading, and visit with us. And they'd bring flowers. The children would bring flowers to the pilots, and we'd get to meet them. They gave me many presents, hand-carved chariots with little horses, and geschenks, many presents. And one girl brought me her teddy bear. She says, it's been my good luck. During the war, I would have my teddy bear in the basement or in the air raid shelter, and it would protect us, and it saved our lives. And now I want you to have it to save the lives of pilots going to Berlin. Fantastic. So we get to know, feeling how the people felt on the flight line. Mm-hmm.
Checking your biography briefly this morning, you wrote about the difficulty that first America fights the Germans.
Yeah.
And now you had to go over on a mission helping the Germans. Yeah. What was the discussion between your pilots now helping the devil?
Yeah. This was a problem for some because the war was over just a few years, and people who had young children, some had not seen their new children, and they were just getting back to family life. And they were getting their houses or their places fixed and things established. And I was trying to talk my girlfriend into marrying me. And now I volunteered. I volunteered to leave because the letters weren't too friendly. And people were getting their lives started again after the war. But we who stayed in the military, every month we had briefings on the world condition. And we knew Stalin wanted to take control of West Berlin. We knew Stalin had just taken Czechoslovakia, just conquered Hungary. He wanted West Berlin. He wanted West Germany. He wanted to influence Europe. So we knew he was the new enemy. Number two, we knew that most of the people in Berlin were women and children. And they were going to starve them, keep them food. And we said, let's go. That's more important than staying comfortable at home. So it changed fast. It changed fast. And when we got my first load into Berlin, when the Germans came through to unload the flour, in their eyes I could see their thankfulness. And they shook my hand and looked at the flour and back at the pilots like we're angels from heaven. So we were friends. From then on, there was no problem. Helping the former enemy was one of the best feelings I've had, of serving others, and the enemy especially. To be friends with the former enemy was the best feeling you can have.
Who are the real heroes of the airlift?
Well, the real heroes of the airlift, first are the Germans in Berlin, because if the Germans in Berlin would not have said, we don't have to have enough to eat, just give us a little. Someday we'll have enough to eat, but if we lose our freedom, we'll never get it back. So they said, the Russians, the Soviets, offered them food rations. Here, come sign up with us, and we'll get you food. And they said, no. Just a few percent capitulated. and accepted that, but the rest said no. So they were, without that attitude that Hans Reuter expressed about the Berliners, without that the airfield never worked. But the military side, General Clay, of course, was a strong face. The other one was General Tunner, who organized the whole airlift. And it wasn't the pilots, it was the aircraft mechanics. And there were many German Luftwaffe aircraft mechanics working with the Americans and the British, fixing the engines. They were the people that made it possible for the airplane to fly over Berlin. And without them, the pilots would have nothing to do. And after the airplanes got to Berlin in bad weather, they couldn't get on the ground unless the people on the ground with radar talked them in, to talk them on the ground. So the people on the ground, the support people on the air, the military support people, aircraft mechanics, the radar operators, they were the militaryers, not the pilots.
What has been your special involvement with Bill Clinton? Because he is on the front, on the cover of your book.
Yeah. I didn't vote for him. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican, but I liked him. He was he was a good president. He had problems, but my only involvement with him was there on the 14th of May on the tarmac at Tempelhof when he and Chancellor Kohl came over to Mercedes and to me and spoke with us. And we gave a little talk and met him, but I didn't know him much before. But it was nice to meet him there, and I'm proud to have had the chance to shake his hand and talk to him and Chancellor Kohl both. Well, that was a very important part of my career to do that. Yeah.
Have you still, or are you still in contact with the other pilots of the airlift?
Yes, we have an organization, Berlin Airlifted Veterans Association. And as soon as I get back to Utah, I will leave for Minnesota to have a meeting, the annual meeting with the survivors of the airlift, the pilots, the flight engineers, the crew chiefs, the mechanics, the cooks, all those who helped on the airlift. We have an organization. We keep in touch. We have a newsletter so that when somebody gets a toothache or something, they talk about whether somebody's doing well or not or whatever. Yeah, so we still have a good camaraderie.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're a good interviewer. You do a great job. You've been reading the book.